So today's episode is also coming to you from Novomed, and I'm joined with another awesome guest. The title of the episode today, I've named it Redefining Success, and you'll know why that is in a minute. I want you to welcome Suchi for me.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute honor to be able to do this.
Long time coming, right?
Long,
so it's
long
amazing.
Time coming,
That's so good. That's so good. Well, you look awesome.
Thank you.
And it seems that you're got over some of the stuff that you were going through as far as what we're going to be talking about today a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
I am an engineer by trade. I am currently building a mental fitness brand. I'm not a big subscriber to the term mental health, which I hope we unpack through our conversation.
Yes.
And I'm currently in that space where I think I've unleashed a side of me that I didn't even know I wanted to become, and I'm kind of enjoying.
These are the best, usually.
Exactly,
yeah.
And I'm enjoying knowing that, working, your external hustle is important, but I think having a tandem with an inner hustle has brought me to this place, and so I wanted to build something that was bigger than me to be able to bring that to the world, and that's where I'm at. So
amazing.
I'm kind of enjoying the journey.
So in my notes, I put a multi-hyphenated leader.
Right.
So what does that mean? What have you been doing? Tell me a little bit about what's going on.
I think I realized that, technically, until I had this major pivot in my life, I realized that one of the primary ways for me to introduce myself to anybody is my job title. Probably I call it one of the darkest chapters in my life, where I think I identified that if I didn't introduce myself to somebody that, oh, I am Suchitra and this is what I do, then I was like, so who am I? Like, I don't really have a sense of identity if I didn't have the title.
Yeah.
And then I walked down this journey of trying to understand who am I, and I, approached it in a very maybe analytical or a very engineered approach, but I loved it. I thought it's like building a product called Suchi. Through the process, I realized you're many things. Your job title is epic, and it's one of those things that is actively defining who you are on a daily basis, but then you're also technically someone's daughter, you're also a wife, you're also
the roles we play, yeah.
Yes, and then I also figured that there are other things that I want to do. Like, for example, I am an engineer by trade, but I'm also becoming an entrepreneur, and at the same time I love classical, South Indian classical singing, so I love practicing that. I also kind of enjoy working out, so I'm constantly exploring the body. So I felt that life is a multi-hyphenate word, and I found it interesting that until then I kind of dialed it all down to one singular thing, which is my job title.
Right.
So that's where I think I decided that no, I want to be many things that make me come alive, and I want to embrace that by saying, I am multi-hyphenate.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that approach and that angle, that whole thing.
Yes.
I think we're all in the same boat as you are, but
Yes.
I think we get stuck in certain roles or titles, as you said.
Exactly.
So it's incredible that you've done that. And the other thing that seems to be recurring also every time we talked about you or we looked into or anything at all is pivoting.
Yes.
So you do it incredibly well, right? So tell me a little bit about the pivots that you've done in your life.
There's the one major pivot that I will talk about, but I think prior to that, what I would say is, in general, I think I loved moving countries. So I landed up being able to build a career with a company called Slumberjay, which is today called SLB. And one of the highlights of the company was every 3 years, as you settle into a role, they'll push you into a new country and push you into a new role.
Oh, wow.
And I felt that there was that stability, which I like, which is I know the organization, I know the DNA of the company. There's a network that I'm building within. So as you move, you kind of meet the same people or a similar wavelength over and over. But the entire nervous system is always getting shaken up with like, oh, new culture, and like I have to look for a new place and I have to adapt to this environment. And then your personal family dynamics, they go through their own, like, how are we growing together? How are we working together? And then not to mention a new role where you think I was just acing that, and now you're like, oh my God, I'm starting all over again. So I found that kind of shaking your core is not a very comfortable thing, but I kind of liked that pivot because I felt it allowed me to constantly grow, stay in a comfort zone for a while, and then again I'm ready, and again I'm ready. So that curiosity bug kept being alive. But a major pivot is, when I decided to take a sabbatical when I did get diagnosed with a burnout, and I was like, burnouts are a real thing. Like I just thought it was a glamorized way of saying I'm really tired.
Right.
But I think that diagnosis coming from a doctor was the only way I was going to pay attention, and then it kind of really got me to look at all the behavioral changes I was having, and I wanted to pause. And I, just to add, like, I am a South Asian, I'm an Indian, I come from an upbringing where rest has no meaning. There's like no time to rest. My dad would be like, why are you sitting there doing nothing? Like, get up and go and study, or like, or get out or whatever, And then I had this feeling that I'm gonna actually take a step out of this hamster wheel that I've been running in, and do what? And like, tell what to people, and what are my parents going to say? What is my husband going to say? Like, I had these fears that weren't related to me, but I know that I'm feeling something very uncomfortable. So taking the sabbatical, choosing myself, was a massive, very scary pivot, to be honest. I do call it a pivot because I threw myself into a place that felt very uncomfortable. And then to subsequently decide I'm going to build a brand in the mental fitness space, which is seemingly very different from what I'd done for 15 years, I think became the largest pivot ever. But I think the highlight in all of this is to have chosen a core aspect of mine, which is to be curious and to be like a student of life, and constantly wanting to level up. Like, I've been in tech my whole life, so I like the terms very technology driven. So I feel it's like a constant operating system upgrade, constantly my mental schema is like, okay, so what's the next level in this video game? What's the next level? So that has been something that has been essential to my growth, whether I was unaware or I'm aware today. So that's how I would say I kind of, I like the stability, and then I like the next level. I like being and doing, and I think I did it always being unaware, and now I very consciously try to incorporate it in my life because I figured it's one of those things that fuels my expansion.
You've just described one of the foundations that everything I do is built upon. There are two certainties I feel in life.
Yes.
That we're always pivoting one way or the other.
Yes.
And then the other certainty is that we are always looking for a comfortable place to be stuck in. Right?
Yes.
It's called inertia.
Yes.
So inertia holds that back from all sorts of things.
Yes.
So part of my life's goal is to deal with inertia in a positive way.
Yes.
Right? So that comfort you're talking about is where anything that is not good for you happens.
Yes. Yes.
It's the adaptation of when you do something new, when you get out of your comfort zone, and that adaptation to it, which can be translated to anything. It could be a new skill, a hobby, whatever you're doing, but also could be translated into workouts and running and physical health and all of that. So the only way you could grow is by going through that adaptation.
Absolutely.
So the actual exercise is very exciting, but the true change happens during adaptation.
Yes.
So and managing inertia, which holds us back.
Yeah.
So it's incredible that we experience this over and over again, and it actually shows in who you are and how you handle people and how you express yourself. It just makes us better human beings.
Absolutely.
When you go through stuff like that.
Oh my God, yes.
Because what this show normally focuses on is two things.
Yes.
One is the wellness, well-being. I like to call it more well-being because I think it's a lot more complicated than just wellness.
Yes.
And then the other thing is supporting entrepreneurs like yourself, local entrepreneurs that are making a difference in the wellness, well-being space. And giving them a voice, try to support. I mean, I need that too, and everyone else needs it.
Yes.
But there isn't enough platforms that actually support this.
Yes.
And I'm trying to make it my thing to be able to help as many people as possible, along with helping myself.
Absolutely.
So, and you're in both of this.
Yes.
So you've pivoted into all these different things.
Yes.
But you've also built an amazing new company that is called
Inside and out. Yes.
So I haven't had the pleasure of yet experiencing it, but I've heard amazing things about it.
Yes.
And a couple of people on my team have tried, and they're amazed.
Yay.
So I will get to it, I promise.
I can't wait though.
Thank you. Tell me about, first of all, burnout, right?
Yes.
So you mentioned that, and I know you take it lightheartedly, which I think is amazing because most people should do that, but at the same time,
yes,
do something about it,
yes,
right? So you've done both of these things.
Yes.
Just briefly tell me about these, but
yes,
also try to share some advice for people that I'm sure many people that will be listening or watching will be in the same position as you.
Yes. The thing that I found interesting is I had a lot of behavioral changes when I was supposedly burning out, which I didn't even know that it's happening to me. So I think I'd love to speak to the fact that you probably don't know that you're burning out because it isn't an overnighter thing that happens. It's actually something that I think is compounding over time because you're operating from a schema, if I may, that you have never really checked in with. So it's not that you burn out only doing things that you don't like, or it's not only work that leads you to a burnout. I think it's just how you address your inner conversations and the way your belief structures are, your triggers are. I think how you're playing small or where shame and guilt comes in. It's very much layered with how you navigate life. And I think when you compound that over time, if you're never checking in, inevitably I feel like burnout is a gift given the world we live in today with all the added distractions and the social media. And there's just so many places that are calling out to you that I feel it's an inevitable gift.
Yeah.
But what I would highlight is, I only showed up when I started to fall physically ill. But I think the body is so intelligent that first it shows you behavioral changes. So if you're feeling like I felt that I was becoming very recluse, I love hanging out with people. I generally gain energy from human exchanges. I'm a bit of an ambivert. I need both. But I felt that whether it was my career or personal space, I just didn't want to engage with anyone. And I was making excuses to cancel at the very end because I also didn't understand what was going on with me. And then it went on to more things that I didn't understand, but I just somehow rationalized I couldn't do caffeine anymore. I found even if I start the day super calm, whatever, and you take a shot of coffee or green tea that has caffeine, I would get dizzy and there would be this feeling I think I'm getting a heart attack, but it was basically just a very...
system overloaded,
That's it. And not knowing and being very much in autopilot, I found it interesting that probably cultural wiring and how my schema is running, I just was able to dumb down everything. That, let's not have coffee in the morning, or I don't understand, we work so hard to get here, why are you canceling on that person, or why are you not able to go do that?
Right.
Or the physical energy drain was real, but it was an intangible. So I was able to somehow numb, suppress, and immerse more into work, immerse more into things that didn't allow me to deal with it. But I would say the ways to observe it now that I look back was, I always loved working out, and there was a time when my body just wasn't shifting. And then it felt like no matter what I did, whether it was sleeping or working out or going outdoors, I just was always fatigued. I'm exhausted all the time. It's not correlated to an actual rest pocket. It's just you feel like you're drained all the time. And then there came a point when I think that was for me a little bit scary, is I felt disconnected from everything. I started to, I could be sitting right here talking to you, but I kind of have these inner questions what is the point of this? Or who am I? Or what am I really trying to do? And the things that were extremely valuable to me started to feel meaningless. And that was scary. And it was also scary to articulate that to people close to you because, you sound scary to yourself.
Yeah.
But I still didn't pay any kind of attention in the sense of taking care of myself. So I just want to highlight that these sort of things in a repeat mode is indicative that your system is operating in a very survival mode and you're trying to be normal with it.
Right.
So you want to pay attention to signals like that. But apart from that, I think the body is so intelligent that, it says, okay, I can't function with what you're doing to me, so I'm going to fall ill. And I am someone who eats well, I work out, but I found like every month it was like the cold or the flu or an eye infection or a lower back problem.
All signs.
It was just something or the other going on physically that finally I went to the doctor for a full body assessment. And in the assessment, all my metrics were seriously fantastic, not even like below par or whatever. So I kind of broke down to say, I don't feel like myself. And then that person led me to a functional doctor, which I'll be indebted to forever. And that full hormone panel check leading me to my cortisol being, checked in, and then a 48-hour check to see how it was fluctuating is how I figured out that that's where I'm at. So I would really say paying attention to your behavioral changes, and if they're consistently sort of giving you this feeling that I'm drained no matter what. I don't feel like I want to be around people. I can't take anything that is a stimulus anymore. I feel like I'm getting empty and constantly exhausted. I think they are very good indicators to say you are operating in fight or flight and you are burning out.
Yeah.
And eventually I think getting a functional doctor to do a full hormone panel test is a great way to understand where your body is at this point. And so that's what I would say about burnout, that honestly check in with yourself. We're so comfortable checking in with the world. It would be, I think my one-liner would be to please regularly check in with yourself. That's what I would say about burnout.
Amazing. And especially in our environment where we live here in this amazing city, that there's so much is going on that it creeps up on you without realizing.
Yes.
I was one of my clients the other day, and she tells me, one of my rituals in the evening is just to spend like 5 minutes on social media before going to bed.
Yes.
And then she was telling me how bad her sleep is.
Yeah.
And I was telling her, I want you to break down what happens when you are beside the blue light and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Just what happens if you're scrolling or swiping on TikTok or Instagram or whatever your favorite platform is. You're getting happy, you're getting sad, you're getting something cute, you're getting something that is horrible, you're getting something that is with a heartbreak, and you're getting something. All of these in a matter of like a second. I'm doing this, and and your brain is capturing these. So you're getting these bouquet of emotions in a compact time, and then you expect to sleep well afterwards. Now imagine if you're going through that throughout the whole day, with everything that you're doing, from traffic to busy elevators and so many other things like that, right? So all of the stuff that the city is part of its DNA. It's very important. I think it's a wonderful advice about checking in. And the other thing that I love about what you said is how intelligent the body is, because I'm a very, very firm believer that the body is far more intelligent than our brain.
Absolutely.
It is incredible, and I always call it the biggest wearable, the best wearable you could have.
Oh, gosh.
You live in your wearable. It tells you everything you need to know.
Absolutely.
It's just tuning in to that frequency. And then you'll be able to handle it, because the body is incredibly resilient. Is that we abuse it over and over again until it tells you, well, if you're going to continue down that path, things are going to be really wrong. And it does it in its own way. So it's incredible. But the good thing about this is that from it, you were able to build something beautiful, right? So beside the fact that you looked into your body and then you rejuvenated it and you've dealt with it and now you're aware of it, but you went on to try to help as many others as possible, right? And this is where Inside and Out comes in.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about that.
I think once I did get diagnosed with that, yes, if I continue to operate in this way, I would be chronically stressed. I think at that point, being supremely unaware, and all the words that people say, switched on or awake, or I just was living in autopilot. Honestly, that's what I look at that part of my life. And then I thought, if I was to be chronically stressed, that's extremely scary, because I am hustling and I am trying to attain these things that society or parenting or culture has dictated as success. And if I was to be chronically stressed, then life continues for everybody else, and I'm just going to be someone who can't decide, do you want coffee or tea, and that's going to make me feel a little too panicky. So that was what I think I needed as a, like, almost like a danger flag. And I thought, in the grand scheme of what we call life, if I can't dedicate a singular chapter to myself to say, how did I get here, and who am I, and where is it that I want to take my life to, because I've never done that for myself, I don't really know what is the point of me being in this three-dimensional world if I can't do that. So then I felt taking the sabbatical was one of the bravest and most self-loving decisions I ever made. But I honestly didn't know what to do, what to begin, where to begin, because I was one of those people, like, say I would go to a hot yoga class to basically burn calories and leave when it's Shavasana, because I'm like, who has time to lie dead or play dead, So I did not connect with myself at all, but I don't think I could ever see that, because I love that quote that says people only meet you as deeply as you've met yourself. And so I think you can't see what you can't see for yourself.
Right.
And through the sabbatical, I think one of the biggest discoveries is I know how to maintain a facade in society and, look like you're ambitious and alpha and you're attaining all of these things. But internally, I was very poor. I think I was bankrupt on the inside. And that kind of fueled me to say, I'm going to call this Project Suchi. And instead of building a tech product in oil and gas, I'm going to build myself as a brand or a product.
Right.
And then I'm going to take my Outlook calendar and I'm going to schedule meetings every day, but the attendee is me. And I will start where I understand. And then I noticed that like your external goals, as I started to see kind of the lights, like, it felt like, what is the point of this, was shifting into, oh my God, I want to wake up in the morning and catch the sunrise every day. Or like, I wanted to move my body. As soon as I got up, I'd have like a bit of quiet time and then move my body. I started to notice I was, suddenly coming out of that very, existential crisis moment, feeling exhausted with everything. And I was like, oh wow, it's the repetition and it's the commitment in the calendar. It's respecting it like a work meeting.
Yes.
And then I noticed that shifted into saying I wanted to then have a slot in the day to move, like a workout. And then I created a slot to worry, because I felt that it was such an unknown that I was always spiraling. So I'd be like, no, 2 hours every day to worry. So I would kind of shut the worry time, get ready to go to the gym and tell myself it's perfectly fine. We get to worry again tomorrow.
Right.
And that repetition led me to then going and finding a coach and then going to a healing retreat and then being able to like practice journaling and explore more and more modalities that by, say, fast forward 10 months, 11 months, I kind of felt this sensation of being zen almost. And I am an over worrier, like I overthink, I overanalyze. And so I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to do next yet. How come I feel this sensation of just being bliss in the moment?
Blissful, yeah.
And that's when I realized that, I have looked at success as only outside of me, but I think the real place where success meets happy or success meets contentment is when you're putting money in your financial bank account, but you're also putting it in your emotional bank account. They have to do this beautiful dance together. So I kind of realized it's not that the external hustle is a problem. It's a problem when you're suffering for the win, when you're not hustling on the outside and hustling on the inside, where it is always in accordance to your well-being. You're looking after how you're feeling as you're running after what you think makes sense as your drive in the outer world. So that's where I felt I want to build a brand that is going to be called mental fitness, not mental health, because what happened was the consistency in the calendar, the showing up every day, the treating it like a work meeting that, I'm meeting Dr. Elie today, I'm not going to cancel unless I'm unwell. Why would I cancel if it was a meditation with myself?
Right.
Why is that not important? And what am I wiring my brain that, Suchi, it's just you and it's an intangible, so cancel. Checking in with yourself is not going to give me money right now. It's not going to give me an accolade in the outside world. Cancel. And that's the inner worth, right? The word says your word means nothing to you. It's meant for the outer world. So that's where I felt the brand should be, one, highlighting that it's not about how much you're doing. It's about the consistency and discipline. And people understand that for the body. So I was like, why don't we call it mental mental fitness.
Right.
But mental health to me felt like, at least even looking at my personal experience, you're showing up when shit hit the fan, and it felt like everything is sort of falling apart and I'm isolated in the experience. It's a dis-ease for me, and it's something to kind of go through with a little bit of shame and guilt and wondering why I got here and things like that. I'm like, it should actually be a powerful thing that you're like, I show up for my career, for my body, I also show up for my mind. And I think the inside and out for me was because I felt that success is still the things that society define it to be, which is money, which is power. But what was missing is, putting in that time and energy to also get to know yourself. And I felt that process, I want to call it mental fitness. It's not a when I feel like and when I'm in the mood or when I'm in a bad place, it's discipline. The mind is behaving like a muscle, so you want to prioritize both.
Right.
So the brand name became Inside and Out.
But what do people need to? What would they expect when they?
So, for me, it's a great place to begin checking in with yourself. So I kind of designed it for a past version of me, the current version of me, and who I'll be becoming. So I look at it as like, if you're curious to want to ask the very basic question of, who am I, or what is happiness, or like, what does it mean to be peaceful or to feel like I'm content? You have that element of curiosity, then the brand is designed like a lifestyle brand to meet you where you're at. So it could be as simple as you're getting a t-shirt that says self-awareness is an attainable superpower, or you're wearing a cap or a charm that says check in with yourself before you check in with the world. This person is wanting something to reframe their mind. They want an affirmation, but you have started, and I want you to come in there where you take something that simple. If you went a bit deeper, then you're doing, let's say, work on how I'm navigating out of burnout, finding my purpose, but they could be very smaller modules and exercises. You're purchasing these little activities which are very specific to what you want to do for yourself.
Okay.
And then when you get really deep, you look at something like a guided journal, which is really a lifestyle practice now. You're not doing that as a one-time thing. It's like you signing up to weight training, but you're leveling up, and as you get more and more deeper with your body, you kind of have bigger goals, more serious goals. So it is really saying the intention behind the brand is to bring somebody to just start checking in.
Okay, awesome.
And I want that to be a consistency built around it, not how much I'm doing. And I kind of like that Mac slogan that says, once you go Mac, you can't go back. I feel it's the same. Once you start checking in, you can't unknow the things you've come to know about yourself. So the point is just begin. And the brand is designed in a way to meet you where you're at. So I just kind of look at it as how my journey has been. And I'd like that if you're deeper, then there's the deeper set of products to look at. If you're a little bit in the middle, then there's a little bit more simpler, lighter, but focused. But if you're just getting started, then I don't want to overload your brain, but I want to bring you in with affirming, retraining your brain, reframing with things you're wearing, like things you're carrying, things you're putting on your bag, stuff like that.
So it's checking in with a plan, basically. So
Yes.
that's amazing. I like that. The concept is phenomenal.
I love it.
And I think I don't think I've ever seen it anywhere else.
I'm so
that's
excited.
Have you come across anything like that?
No, I think in the self-development space, which is what we call, I feel like I haven't seen anyone take it in the way that I am, but I also think it's because of how it's hit me. I think being supremely unaware, but still living in a city, wanting to still have these external goals, still integrating with the regular life. We're sitting in this beautiful venue. I want to recognize that I want to do this as I am living the life that I've always loved to live. So I feel like that integration for me needed to come out in a very different way, which is probably the journey that worked for me. So probably that's why I haven't seen it anywhere. And I also think that approaching it as mental fitness, I haven't seen that anywhere. So I'm thinking that I like that this is for me a realistic way of saying we are busy, we do have 10,000 things to do, but adding one ritual in a day to check in with yourself, it's on you if you feel that's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's on you.
So with me, so for example, breath or mental health or any of those for lack of a better word, less exciting
Yes.
part of our well-being,
Yes.
They for me are their number one. I think
Yeah.
they're the most impactful
Yes.
on anyone's journey.
Yes.
Anyone that I work with, myself,
Yes.
people that are around me, this is the most impactful to your well-being.
Yes.
Breath is an incredible tool.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And then it leads into so many other things. But also, once you start here, everything else becomes a lot more attainable.
Absolutely.
So once you manage that, is so it's incredible, and I can't wait to try it and
can't
see it
either,
and
yes.
experience it. And I can't wait for others to do that too. Now, the other aspect of our chat and
Yeah.
this show is to give a couple of tips
Yes.
to people that are in your shoes, that people
Yeah.
are trying to develop something for the wellness, well-being world.
Yeah. Yes.
Couple of tips that you would give people about what to avoid or what to start with, embarking on something exciting like what you've done
Yes.
for the environment. What would those be?
You mean starting a business, or you mean
Exactly.
starting a business?
Starting a business. So you're starting this.
Yes.
So you like any business, it
Yes.
has its ups and downs and things that you've learned.
Yes.
So someone fresh coming into this, someone's looking at someone you're mentoring.
Yes.
What would you give them as a couple of tips of getting started in this? What do you need to do?
So I think my very first tip would be to have the person want to ask themselves and sit with it on what is your why. I genuinely think that the greatest grounding that becomes of the journey, because it's scary on a daily basis, it's exhilarating on a daily basis. But if you constantly come back to that, what is your why, you're always remembering that foundationally, this is why I chose to do this.
Right.
And I think that it's a simple question, but it's very profound. And then it's something that you can keep coming back to whenever you feel, I want to quit, I want to leave, this is overwhelming, or you're pivoting, because sometimes, you do have people you look up to who tend to push you in directions that they say, this stuff will not work, let me tell you what to do, let me tell you what to be. You can land up going away from why you began. But if you sit with that as an intentional exercise and go really deep with yourself, as just, every day I have like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to think about what is my why until it's fully framed, to me, it's a game changer.
A why that solves a problem, though. We're not talking about my why would be, I just want to make a lot of money. That's why I'm doing this.
Yes.
So it's not, I think it goes beyond that,
Yes.
right? It has to have a profound or a problem-solving
Yes.
means,
Yes.
right? So for you, your why was clear because you had to be faced with it.
Yes.
And as a result, you got inspired to help others to do the same.
Yes.
So I think it's very important to kind of understand what are you trying to solve and who you're trying to help
Yes.
with this.
Yes.
And there's no shortage of that.
No.
We all need lots of help, right?
No, in fact, to the point that you said, if somebody says that my why is to make a lot of money, I think it eventually leads you to a place where you can make a lot of money, but I think you are then questioning, now what? Or what does this mean for me internally? Or how am I feeling within? I feel like that journey is essential for everyone. You go on that journey with yourself to eventually say, this alone was not enough. But I think when you ask the why, you are not stopping at the superficial. You're not stopping at just because I want to make, but it is a great why, but it cannot be the grounding why. So you want to be like, I want to make a lot of money, yes, but that's not why I'm building a brand. That is a consequence of why I'm building a brand. I want to know, why do I choose this? Why am I choosing a furniture brand? Why am I choosing something that says I want to become limitless? Why am I choosing inside and out? You kind of want to go deeper than, which is completely acceptable to say in your circumstance that, money is one of the reasons, but it's got to be one of the reasons. If it's the only reason, you could be doing anything. Technically, you don't have to know the industry or what I'm focusing on. And I think that's where, for me, the why is. You start with a why to go really deep with yourself. I think second, for me, what I would say is I found that this over planning, overthinking, over strategizing is not working. It worked very well for me in the engineering world. It doesn't work well in an entrepreneurship world. I think you have to be supremely agile when you're building a business.
Flexibility is key.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you want to say that I can't wait for all my ducks to be in a row. There is no such scenario. So I would say the beauty in the space of starting something new is just start.
Yeah.
And you kind of let yourself experience the actions of what you're trying to do and listen to feedback. So when you're doing a step forward, you face your next block, then you say, okay, I need to find someone who's going to help me out with this, or I need to meet somebody who can solve that, or maybe I need to hire somebody, or I need to learn a skill. But start. I think the action is key, because otherwise you're constantly telling yourself, but I don't know this, I don't have the money for that, I don't have enough people here, which is going to keep you in status quo and stuck and maybe throw away the great idea. So I would say the second thing is to be in action, be agile, and begin. And automatically, I think
awesome advice. Awesome. And it's also alive. And I think this is really representative of anything meaningful that you do in your life.
Yes.
It's the same as, if you've never worked out, then you're going to get into a workout.
Exactly.
If you start going to think about, I want to be there. Well, to get there, you need to do like the first step, and then the second, and then the third. So sometimes it feels overwhelming.
Definitely.
You and I can talk forever.
Absolutely.
I think. I love this. And I hope that we could do it again sometime.
Me too, yes.
And I look forward to checking out Inside and Out.
I can't wait.
And we'll put in the caption all of the details about the platform and yourself.
Yes.
But this has been such a pleasure.
Thank you
so much for spending some time with me.
No, such an honor, and I can't wait to hear your feedback on the products.
Thank you so much. Thank you.